Hey there, welcome back to the Hot Slice podcast. I am your host, Denise Greer, executive editor here at Pizza Today, and with me is our birthday man himself, editor-in-chief, Jeremy White. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you very much. 47. So
You're not supposed to tell people your age. You're supposed to tell them you're 28.
yeah, well, maybe on a really good day, maybe 38. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there was a time, Jeremy, not too long ago when you people would have passed you for like 22 working at Pizza
Yeah,
Today. I mean, that
that,
wasn't that long ago. That was when I started.
yeah. Well, Denise, you started a long time ago for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you grew the beard, and so now you're not looking 22 anymore.
Yeah, I may have to. I'm starting to look like Pete with my beard a little bit. I got a little gray in the beard.
But you gotta get it a full. It
Well,
needs to be a big bushy beard.
right. I mean, look, there's only one Hemingway. There's only one Pete. So, yeah, I may just have to get rid of it altogether.
Well, no shave November's coming up, so give it a try.
Well, am somewhat counterculture, so maybe I will make it full shave November, and I will just
Yeah.
shave. We'll see.
Speaking of fun months,
Yeah,
we have National Pizza Month coming up in less than a month.
we do.
Yeah, and I always try to make sure that we have the Pizzeria Operator Toolkit up and available for people to use far before that. So we had Josh this year recreate the logo. So there is a new logo for National Pizza Month. It's so cool. It's very updated.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's got it's very new and fresh, but it also has a little bit of a 1980s feel to it.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. We are in a golden age of pizza right now, but the 80s were also a golden age, and it kind of ties the two eras together, almost like Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly.
Now in the 80s on Netflix, it's Josh's logo here. It kind of bridges that gap and ties those two eras together, in my opinion. So
absolutely. So one other really cool new addition is something I worked on. I really wanted to give people kind of a look at what a month-long social media calendar looks like. So I created a template where they can fill in, their Facebook copy, their Instagram copy, their LinkedIn copy, whatever they're using, and we've kind of showed them, okay, well, here's a theme idea. Here's what it should be, whether it should be a post, a video short. Video shorts are huge right now. You're getting a lot more play off a video short than you are just a general image. And so I tried to give them each day what you could do. So I filled it. So you can actually get 31 days of social media for National Pizza Month. And
I love it. I mean, first of all, if you only promote National Pizza Month on October 1st and say, hey, it's National Pizza Month, come on into Denise's Pizzeria, and then you don't do anything with it again for the next 30 days,
it's a missed opportunity.
Number two, Denise, our readers could go pay an agency thousands and thousands of dollars for this information, and I have a media calendar for the month of October put together. And here, done it. You can find it on pizzatoday.com, which doesn't cost you anything to access. You can find it completely free of charge. So there's no reason not to. And the beauty of it is not everything works for everyone, right? So something that we're suggesting you do on October 8th that in your market specifically or your neighborhood specifically, maybe it doesn't work. That's okay. Something else that day. But you look over the 31 days and they're going to be a plethora of ideas that will work for you, really no matter your market, whether you're in New York City or whether you're in a tiny, tiny little town in South Dakota, there are ideas that will work for you.
And
it's all free.
Yeah. And, the fun thing about just having marketing ideas out there is you look at marketing ideas and all of a sudden something pops into your head that's original for what you do. And so that's the important thing is to spark creativity in our owners, spark creativity in their marketing staff, whoever is in charge of their social media. to really come out there and start thinking about how to drive more traffic. And so that's what we're trying to do, is help them with that. So we actually have like key messages for National Pizza Month. We have news releases, media alerts, which, you know, will give them opportunities to, you know, promote if they have a specific event going on for National
Yeah.
Pizza Month, or a specific campaign, or a specific fundraising. You know, October is a beautiful month to do fundraising. And if you're not taking advantage of that, you can tie both together and make a lot of money for your nonprofits and be able to honor National Pizza Month as well.
Yeah, we're going into a super busy time of the year for pizzerias. You're
Yeah.
ramp up gift card sales for the holidays. You're preparing for the holidays. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot going on, and not to mention the Pizza and Pasta Northeast show in Atlantic
Yeah.
in October. So you have to really take a deep breath and get ready for the chaos this coming your way. And it's funny because, speaking of chaos, I'll let you introduce the guests that we're going to be speaking to today. But boy, they're right in the middle of some chaos right now. They are in the weeds. They are playing in the chaos as we speak.
You know, I'm going to say that they probably like that, and they probably thrive on that, because they actually opened their pizzeria in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then they're opening their second location now. So in the middle of, you know, inflation, employee issues, you know, supply increases, you know, it's a volatile time right now to open a business. So I think they kind of dig it. So we're
And fortune favors the bold, for sure.
Exactly. Fortune does favor the bold. So we're talking to Davide Lubrano and Vinny Gallagher from Pizzata Pizzeria in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And actually, they're in the latest issue of Pizza Today. They're in the September issue of Conversation, so you can learn a little more about them in our Q&A. But it was great to get them on the show and actually dive deeper into some of the things they do, like sourdough. I mean, I know, Jeremy, you geek out on sourdough so much.
All about it. Yeah.
So, wait, by the way, how old is your sourdough right now? How old's your baby?
I've assigned her a name and everything. She's now a really important part of my family. But no, she will be turning 9 years old in January. So she's what, a little over 8, almost 9 years old now.
Wow. It's like having a kid right there, 9-year-old kid, 9-year-old sourdough. So
twice a day, a lot of love, a lot of TLC goes into the sourdough.
Yeah.
I named my sourdough after my late grandmother. I mean, I'm very attached to the sourdough, as you can tell.
What's its name?
Ruth.
Okay, I like it. Dig it. Well, and so I mean, so you understand sourdoughs. You know, it's a labor of love to use sourdough, and especially in a pizzeria setting where it's a fast-paced environment, it's high volume. You know, you're constantly having to feed it. You know, and so to use sourdough is such a it's such a passion for the craft to be able to use sourdough. But these guys are not only just using sourdough, they're using a blend of how many flours? They're using a lot of flours in their dough, which I geek out on totally. And there's one other thing so they have their pizzeria in Philly, and they're opening a store in Florida, but a different pizza style. So they're going Roman, which, you know, we said it, Roman has been building for a long time. We've been seeing it build for a long time. And we're seeing more and more Roman spots open up. So it's going to be exciting to watch their progress.
It's fun. It's a fun style. It really is. There are people here stateside that do it really well. They're few and far between at the moment. I've been enough to have it a handful of times in Italy. And it was mind blowing. And there are some folks now who are doing that here, like I said, in the US. And it is an up and coming style. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. Will it reach the fevered pitch that Detroit style pizza is at right now? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. I can tell you that personally, I'm a huge fan of the style.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
it's light, digestible, and that's a huge trend right
mm,
now, is to have something that feels good on your belly and sits well on your belly. And so, I think we just need to dive in, because we're talking a lot in this
yep,
conversation. We're going in a couple different directions, but they are a wealth of knowledge. And so you're maybe take a little notes. I don't know.
let's bring them on.
Looking to grow your pizzeria or restaurant? Then you'll want to try the power of a cloud-based POS system. With Hunger Rush, you'll get everything you need. This fully integrated restaurant management system allows you to easily streamline operations, accelerate the delivery process, and grow your business through Hunger Rush 360 marketing. And it's so easy to use. Want AI-powered text ordering? It's built in. Need to track orders? No problem. Schedule a personalized demo at hungerrush.com today. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. Hear that? That's the sound of a pizza being made with delicious Baccio cheese. For the past decade, Baccio has provided customers exceptional Italian pizza cheese with its signature kiss of buffalo milk. With a superior melt, endless stretch, and a rich, creamy taste beyond compare, Baccio is honored to celebrate this 10-year anniversary with all of its partners. Schedule a demonstration at bacciocheese.com/hotslice to learn more. Pizza's your legacy. Build it with Baccio.
Okay, so I have to tell you guys, the Philadelphia scene is insane when it comes to pizza. Like, I don't think people understand how great Philadelphia is as a pizza city. Kind of tell us about your pizzeria and how you fit into that market.
How do we fit in?
Yeah.
I think we came in at the right time.
Mhm.
When the pandemic was pretty much, we were negotiating our little shop, hole in the wall, we call it. Everybody was playing with bread at home, with sourdough, trying to make starters, and me and Vinny met a little bit ahead of that, like a year
Mhm.
before that, and it was in our brain already to be, I wanted to do something, you wanted to do something else. And basically we want to combine both our knowledge and talent, and practical ideas to into sourdough, because nobody was really doing sourdough pizzerias.
Mhm.
So that's, I think, how we fed in. I have a little bit of background in Philly. I was working already, and I was pretty well connected, let's say, to the industry,
Okay.
or to the I would say anybody in the pizza industry right now.
Yeah.
And so when we opened, the word got around very quick before we even opened, basically.
Mhm.
And we were pretty shocked and amazed that the Inquirer was reaching out, and Cider was reaching out, and they're like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And long story short, since day one we opened, we had to operate in the beginning out of a little takeout window,
Yeah.
this is, and we had lines out the door from day one.
Wow.
The city was very, very supportive. The neighbors, we couldn't get the health department to come by or to get an inspection. And long story short, that one of the neighbors walked by. She goes, "What do you mean the health department hasn't come by yet?" It's like we're waiting. And she's like, "I'll make a phone call today."
It was like an old lady, it was a really old lady. We're like, "Oh, thank you so much, sweetie. That's a lot of help."
Sure.
Yeah.
Within 1 hour, they called us. They'll be like, "We'll be there."
It was like the supervisor.
Wow.
And it was like, "Here's your inspector.
We're
Here's
like,
your
well, we
time."
know
Everything was set.
We're like, we know not to mess around with this lady.
Yeah, I guess so. You kind of had
But-
the right connections in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah. But I think Philly was primed for us in the pandemic. It was like Joe Badia started and blew up his spot. And then Davide was saying he was super well connected. So he's really good friends with Danny at Angelo's and
Yeah.
all these people were embedding themselves, and I guess fortune favored the bold. We stuck to our plans in the middle of the pandemic, and we just had a very unique idea of doing sourdough, I guess. And our style was to bake it, a little bit harder than most people were accustomed to. And Philly loves trying new things. So they gave us support. They were supporting Davide, and I don't know, I got goosebumps. Something sparked for us.
Yeah.
It worked out.
So you
What
talked to, oh, sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
What was it about sourdough that it appealed to you versus any of the other, pre-ferments or different, all the considerations that you could have utilized to make your dough? Why did you choose sourdough in the first place?
So I was I was living in San Francisco at the time. So San Francisco sourdough, natural leaven. And I was working at a place called Del Popolo out there for John Darsky. And so that's what I learned, like I got a good education there. I read every book I can get myself on, from pizza to chemistry. I nerded out basically. And I wanted to propose to my wife at the time. So I taught myself how to make bread, ship it to my father-in-law, who, I don't want to censor this part. He's like a bread slut. It doesn't matter whether it's 2-week-old hot dog buns with mold on it or fresh, tartine bread. He's going to put it in his pie hole and it's going to go down,
That's awesome.
So instead of flying to Philly from California, I airshipped the Lowe's and was like, hey, let's talk. Right.
Yeah.
And so my contribution when I came here was like, this is what I know. We can do this. It'll be unique. And, Davide, if you listen to anyone, they'll tell you he's the most open-minded guy. And for him to let go of what he knows and does unbelievably well and became famous for, it's, it says something about him. I don't know. Once you can have a pre-ferment, like a Polish and a Biga and sponges and all these other styles, but I always think of it as like monoculture. You're getting one particular flavor, one particular thing, and you can tweak it in different ways. But with a sourdough starter, the variation is crazy. It's just a robust flavor. Some people like sour, some people don't. You can do it in different ways, just like with the other pre-ferments, but it's up to you what you want to impart in it,
When you pull a pie out of the oven, and it's obviously got sauce, cheese, maybe a meat, so you got a lot of different flavors coming together, some powerful flavors. Can your customer base, when they bite into your pizza, can they taste any of that signature sourdough tang, or is it kind of masked by all the other flavors on the pizza and it's just more of a texture thing at that point?
I think absolutely, because for example, when we came here, there is, from start to finish, we use about 6 different flours. That, to make our dough come together, from, baking it to stretching it to, what goes where we use for the starter or the pre-ferment, into the day after what we put into our dough after the starter. So I think, to give you a small example, like when we came down here to Florida to open our second shop, we were trying to not do a starter and do a Polish. Started to make a Polish out of wheat flour. Changed it from something to something else, and it drove me crazy. When I thought it drove me crazy. First 10 days, I was like, it's not our pizza, it's not our dough, it's not our crust, it's not like it just, the flavor was so different. And I think a big part of it, I think Vinny had a good idea in using organic rye flour, which, you don't really use rye flours in pizzerias.
No.
So we make our pre-ferment with that, or we use the starter to make it out of rye flour, and that gives us such a diverse, intense flavor that goes into it. But then I feel like the combination of every other quantity of flour that we put together that goes into our dough, mixing the day after, plays a big part of it. But we had to tweak it for months and months and months until we're like, this is what I want to eat.
Can
Yeah.
we talk about those flowers for a second? Can you tell it? I mean, I know it's probably a little bit of a secret there, but can you tell us what kind of flowers you're using to get the robust flavor that you're getting out of your crust? Besides, you said the rye. Can you talk about any of the other flowers?
We use the rye with, I mean, Vinny is gonna step in, but we use the rye, then we use an high gluten flour, then we use a bread flour, and then we use a double O flour. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
what we use to make our dough.
Ah, nice.
And then we bowl it with, when we bowl it and put flour basically in dough bins, we use rice flour. And then when we stretch it and bake it, we use the room flour.
Okay.
Fine room flour.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So we are seeing that a lot, like people doing a lot of flour blending, especially with variations of New York style pizza. Had you always wanted to kind of go in this direction and kind of create your own vision of what the style of pizza is for you?
Right. For me personally, I think it kind of was out of necessity.
Mhm.
Like, you know, we want really nice flour and we can't get that really nice flour, but that really nice flour, you know, I hate saying Papa John's, but like better ingredients, better pizza, right?
Yeah.
You have really nice flour. What are those attributes? And so what flowers can we get here in Florida? What can we get in Philly? Where can we get on the West Coast?
Yeah.
You have to blend flowers for a certain
Yeah.
level, certain attributes.
Yeah.
And, you know, we started with one thing and it didn't work. So we switched in a different flour, brought in something else. And what's nice about having, I mean, it's been a blessing having, you know, a partner. Eh? People always say owner, but when you have owners, it's a lot easier because, you know, I'll make a dough and then Davide will bake and use it. And he'll be like, it's stretching awful. It's baking awful.
Yeah.
This, I'm doing this. And then we have a little powwow, regroup, pull something out, drop it in. And that's like, well, you know, we could only get wheat flour here in the beginning, like you were saying, and we wanted rye because, you know, pentazons, you know, there's different proteins and different enzymes that you'll get that'll affect your pre-ferment in various ways. So, yeah, Jeremy, to your question earlier, it's all about balance, right? So yeah, it kills me when people put on way too much sauce or way too much cheese or way too much meat. And then you can't actually taste your dough. You can't taste the sauce. You can't taste the cheese. Why use great ingredients if you're not going to be able to taste it? So our big philosophy is great ingredients, good attention to care. And if we need to season, it's a little bit of salt and, you know, Evo, if anything.
Yeah. So I want to go back to your sourdough for 1 second. Can you tell, you know, because sourdough does require a lot of maintenance, and especially with, you know, it's kind of hard with staff these days. So, you know, what is required to really maintain that sourdough at a healthy level for your crust?
So I think there's like a few rules that with sourdough that you kind of want to generally follow. And the biggest one for me is you don't want to use a weak starter, you know, whether it's abused, neglected, or not ready. You won't get good dough or good pizza if you use it in those conditions. So it's a matter of always having a mature starter on hand that you can pull off of. It's better than having something that's weak or awful, like I said earlier. So, you know, I always have a mother going on the side that'll get fed twice a day. You know, it's just something that's just
always
there going and strong. So if we need to build off it, which is what we'll do, it's ready and good to go. But it's difficult, you know. I don't speak Spanish. Davide speaks like 5 languages. So when we have employees, you know, I can show them what to look for, what to smell, what to taste, how it should look and feel. Because you got to use everything when you use a sourdough starter. But I can't communicate that. So it's like a circle of like going through Davide, using the communication, going to this guy, and then like it's not something that you can just use instant yeast or active dry and turn it around. It takes time. So we're lucky to have great staff that have been with us since day one. And our dough guy right now, he's top notch. Yeah, he knows what he's doing now.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. Awesome. Whether he knows exactly why he's doing what he does, he can knock it out, and that's the hardest part. It's just finding good quality people that have the passion for it.
Now, how's that going to translate now that, okay, so you're opening your second location or a different concept in Florida? Tell me about this, what's going on in Florida. Can you talk about it?
A little bit different. Here in Florida, we're doing, I always wanted to do it in Philly. I don't know how we ended up here. I mean, I do know, but I love Roman style pizzataio.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I took a class like with Massimiliano very long time ago.
Yes.
For, the Napolitana,
Mhm.
pizza napolitana, because that's how I grew up, and was raised basically. But I fall in love with focaccia or Roman pizza. I took a class, completely fell right in it quickly. Like I just got it. A lot of people take those classes, they have to test it. To me, it just immediately popped in. And I wanted to combine both as a slice shop as a takeout pizzeria.
Mhm.
And by doing the slices, I hate seeing round slices sitting on display,
Mhm.
because after literally 30 minutes, I hate to say, they look like shit.
Yeah.
But they just not eye appealing.
Yeah.
To me after a little bit, when the focaccia and the taglio, it really, like, for 3 hours, 4 hours, it just always looks amazing. And the second you reheat it or the day after, it just
Yeah.
comes back to life. It looks like it just came out of the oven.
Absolutely.
So we wanted to combine both the slice shop, because also slice shops, they're very hard to find nowadays.
Mhm.
So like the first pizzeria, we wanted to bring back a very mom and pop takeout pizzeria, and here we're trying to bring back the slice shop pizzeria / happy hour that we're working on to getting on our beer and wine license.
Yeah.
So during the day we do the counter slices, and we do that from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And all day long you can get the round pies. Basically,
Mhm.
at 3 p.m. we stop the slice shop, because we then at nighttime, if we get busy, we need both ovens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We can't, unfortunately, we can't manage that unless we have a whole nother oven. But then
Yeah.
doing both styles, then we need another pizza man on top of it. It's like
Yeah.
so it's a lot of figuring out right now. We would love to do both all day long, but like you mentioned, so labor is being crazy, and
Yeah.
just finding people that are very willing to learn what you're doing. It's like it's a challenge.
I bet. I
Even,
bet.
like, one thing that we found is, like, even generationally, growing up, we, as a millennial, we've always been like, like, these old people are always calling us and labeling us stuff. And now I hear and see the younger generations, I'm like, oh my God, they're so defiant. They're acting this way, like they're, it's
Yeah.
blowing my mind, and it's frustrating. But we need to adapt for them. And like,
Mhm.
we had that, it was a machine. It was like chop, 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 processes in place, everything's
Mhm.
coming, and we could test and we could do whatever. But in order to grow, you need to go
Mhm.
outside your comfort zone. And coming here was all new challenges, all new problems, all new
Yeah.
figuring out from, not just having one business and figuring out running another restaurant. It's like, where can we find synergies and how can we group? And we're seeing the value of, like, putting things in place that, like, our accounting, or our taxes,
Yeah.
our poolish or our starter, what's working, what's not working, what do we need across the board. And it's really eye-opening experience right now for us. So it's tough. On
And
top of everything else, like, we're working the shop, we're doing the back house, we're doing the
Yeah.
desk, we're doing end of day stuff.
As in
It's-
fact, I apologize for my desk, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I bet you gotta be. I mean, I thank you for just taking a little bit of time to talk to us. But
He really likes you guys, because he's usually past exhaustion in the morning,
Oh.
like, grumpy.
you're
So
bright-eyed and
he's having
bushy-tailed.
a good day for Jeremy's birthday.
That's
That's
right.
awesome. How are you able to manage? I mean, I got a map back here, Florida to Philadelphia. I mean, you're going to manage between that area, how are you going to manage the businesses between two states, and how are you doing it right now? Because you said you're in Florida right now, but Pizzata's popping in Philadelphia. So how are you able to, float between them and kind of manage both?
We are pretty, first, we are very full, hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
But when, like Vinny was saying, we're very blessed to have a great team in Philly that has been with us from day one,
Mm-hmm.
and where we, trust them, and we show them little by little things that could take away from us in order for the shop to run a little more on its own than us being there constantly. But I do have my older brother stop saying, let's say my brother's in Philly, stop saying twice a week to double check on the guys, to close the week. To see if they need anything. We have a group chat where every day, like, hey, did you guys do this? Hey, can you please do this? We don't really check the cameras. We trust the guys, like we said. If there's an issue, our Michelle, our cashier manager, she just says, hey guys, can you look into this? Everybody, like literally 6 of us, are on the emails.
Mm-hmm.
All of us on the emails, like, hey, did you guys miss this? Hey, did anybody reply this? But like if I go back to Philly, I'm gonna stop in, every day in the morning to, double check on the standards, or if there is something that, of course, what we say, when the mice is not around, when the cat is not around, the mice like to play, So, they might find a little
just a little loophole. And that's the same thing even with our vendors, they don't see us in there yelling at them, sending something back if we don't receive the right product. Our staff might not feel comfortable enough to do that. So it's up for us, as uncomfortable it is to make these demonstrations, that they see it so they feel more empowered to do that. And our philosophy has always been, like Davide said earlier, they've been with us from the beginning, and it's because as we grow, they grow. We love bringing in someone who wants to do dishes, because the sooner they have dishes on lock, we pull them up into the kitchen. Once they're in the kitchen, if they want, we pull them into the pizzeria. If they don't like the pizzeria, they could try the front of the house, see where they're happy, and then see where we can grow. And that's like where we are now. Like, we're trying to figure out how to handle like a social media solution. How do we handle like marketing solution, not just for the one shop, but for the two shops, and like you said, they're very demographically different.
Like
one's center city business, another one's more a seasonal touristy resort town, I feeling, it's the challenges couldn't have been more diverse, right? Even the things like in Philly, we bought our shirts heavy on the small, medium, large, right? And we bought a bunch of extra larges, which went to waste down there in Philly. We came here being like, oh, we learned from Philly, right? Buy those extra larges, right? Screw those. They're the only shirts that we've been using and selling down here.
Oh wow!
Now we have all these smalls and mediums, and we're the only two people that wear those. So it's like, oh my god, everything's the opposite.
Oh wow!
It's a learning. We're just learning.
It's also like customer humbling experience. It's everything's very different. What people want here, in Philly, they don't really want it. It's very different.
Or it's like the pizzas, we bake it really hard. We like that extra flavor, that fine line between burnt and bien coute of a bake. But this demographic, they're like snowbirds. It's not really good for dentures and things like that. So like we're like grappling with this kind of stuff. So it's really difficult to manage both shops right now. But we have the staff. Everyone is like, we trust each other, and I think that's the biggest thing. I mentioned earlier, having a partner or owner is not just a owner. You have someone that you trust and you can rely on, and that's like, it gives you a little bit more sleep at night. So
absolutely. That's awesome.
It doesn't mean we're not like, feeling awful every morning and trying to throw off, but we're
just managing. I got you. Well, Jeremy, I will close you. I'll let you close out, birthday boy, with the last question for him.
Right, sounds good. So I just want to talk a little bit. I wanted to ask you just a little bit about your training procedures, because you have entered a new market. Um, Obviously, when you enter a new market so far away, it's not like you could bring in extra staff in the Philly store, train them, and then send 12 people to the new store. That's not possible in your situation where you're going from Pennsylvania to Florida. So how did you train your new staff in Florida? Obviously, you worked hard to train your
Yeah.
take over the shop and run the shop in your absence. But talk a little bit about training the new Florida staff once you were able to hire them.
I'd say we still training.
Yeah.
Always.
Still making the pizzas, on the counter. Vinny is still, pretty much making it there. We're both trying to, combine and slowly teach a few guys, like, one of the dishwasher, for example, we're trying to make him understand, like, how does dough work. He wants to step up. The salad man, the salad girls, we were lucky to hire. We took over an old spot that was here.
Okay.
Two of the girls showed up saying, hey, we worked not for the place that was here before, but the one that was before the place that you guys took over.
Okay.
We heard good things. We would like to work. And so we hired them, and they pretty much were quick in learning, because, at the end of the day, sandwiches is pretty easy, I would say, compared to everything else that we do. But, as now we're like thinking, okay, what else do we need? These people want meatballs. Okay, let's start testing meatballs. Let's start testing fresh pastas. Let's start testing it. And that's another challenge question. It's going to be kicking in super soon and be like, okay, now who do we hire? How do we train this person? How do we, because, in all this, like, I'm testing, but a pizza comes out. Okay, let me step away. Let me go make the pizza. Okay, let me go back to the kitchen. The phone is ringing. Okay, Vinny, can I get the phone, please? It's like,
yeah.
We are all over the place,
Yeah.
Like Vinny was saying, we're trying to create a structure, but right now it's like,
Yeah.
like it. So, we are doing everything, and we're used to that in Philly, but down here we are stretched so thin with not a support network like we have in Philly, with all the other shops and the talent pool to pull from, that people here are not stubborn, but a little bit more set in their ways, where they're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, and they'll go do it. And it's like, hang on, you're not doing it up to our standards or how we want it. And you don't understand why you're doing what you do, how it doesn't work for us. So it's a matter of, like, just being like, stop, just don't do anything, just watch us and ask questions, and then as they go, it's like, building a habit or routine. They got to do it 1,000 times. So it's like, how many times can we force them to answer the phone? How many times can we force them to only take a dough ball out of a dough bin? Like, we have to start at the basics and hit them with, like, 60 pizzas a day. Only take this dough ball out. Okay. Now only open it. Now only put it on the peel. Now only put it in the oven, because every step along that simple, seemingly process that we do is an area for someone to mess up. So you gotta like,
it's that
really
repetition.
repetition. That's it. And the faster we can build in those reps, the leaner and more better those guys will be. But it's tough. And we're doing everything.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll bet. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show today and giving us an update. Man, I learned so much from you guys, and I can't wait to watch your growth. Hey, make sure that you fill out your 30 pizzerias to watch too on our on the website, because we're trying to get everybody to make sure they fill those out, because we want to see who makes the list this year. So, all right, well.
Be there.
Well, good luck with the new shop and keeping everything going in Philly, and maybe we'll see you in Atlantic City.
Awesome. So thanks a lot, Denise.
All right. See you guys.
Happy birthday.
Take care.
Fun, man.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.